I feel sorry to the fan because the fight is boring. The fight is boring. Like that's not the fans are expecting to us.
Terence Crawford in his brain is saying to himself, I can beat this dude. You know what I'm saying? If he actually goes through with it, he'll be 38 years of age next Sunday.
Right now in the sport, that's supposed to be the man, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, I mean? Like, all right, well, so I'm gonna fight. You beat the shark, you beat the wolf.
Manny Pacquiao mocked Floyd Mayweather for calling out Terence Crawford, saying he feels sorry for fans because this isn't the kind of fight boxing deserves. Pacquiao claimed it would be boring and nothing more than an exhibition. He reminded everyone that Mayweather has been retired for years and hasn't fought seriously in a long time, making the idea meaningless.
That's not the fans are expecting to us. I mean, as a fighter. If I'm a fan, of course I want to see a good fight, like changing fight, not a fashion show.
Manny Pacquiao has openly criticized Floyd Mayweather, saying he pities a retired champion for prioritizing money over the true spirit of boxing. In Pacquiao's view, Mayweather's return to the ring isn't about legacy or competition, but about cashing in through exhibition bouts. He argued that the rumored showdown with Terence Crawford is not a genuine contest, but a spectacle driven by greed. Pacquiao stressed that such events strip away the essence of boxing, replacing warrior spirit with showmanship, instead of real battles. He said these matchups resemble business performances where fighters act like models on a runway, leaving fans with a hollow experience rather than the meaningful competition the sport is built on.
Now, in the beginning of this conversation, you say, I don't like boastful people. How was it like fighting Mayweather then? Did he get on your nerves? Because I feel like he's a little bit more boastful than the people you might be wanting to hang out with.
Yeah, he's boastful. I think his God is the material things, money, everything like that. I'm pretty with him because I want to share the word of God in him if he believes God.
Yeah, I've heard he's a generous man. I think he's done good things. I think, he kind of reminds me of like a lot of people are like this, by the way, including myself. I'm not just saying him. I'm including myself. The man who goes up to Jesus and says, what should I do to get into heaven? He says, sell all your belongings. And he walked away crying because he couldn't sell his belongings.
The announcement of Floyd Mayweather facing Mike Tyson in 2026 sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Analysts were quick to note that the fight is less about two legends at their peak and more of an entertainment spectacle aimed at revenue. Marketed as a warm-up for Mayweather's potential clash with Terence Crawford later that year, both events appear structured around financial gain, with massive pay-per-view sales anticipated. Tyson's legendary aura and Mayweather's global brand ensure the matchup will draw worldwide attention, despite offering little sporting significance. For many, the fight symbolizes boxing's shift towards spectacle over competition, driven by money rather than genuine athletic state.
As for Jake and Tyson, and some people like the likes of Carl Froch viewed that as an endorsement. Like, look, man, I'm just working. It's a big opportunity to be on Netflix. I didn't put the fight together. I'm not paying these guys. So, let's chill out. But all right, I'm not going to poo-poo this. I just don't know what CSI is. And the way it was presented made me think that there was like a secondary press release to come, that they'll be involved in like some sort of like virtual boxing thing. Like, it just didn't seem real. You know why it didn't seem real? I'll tell you why. There's no date attached to it. There's no venue attached to it. Forget rules. Exhibition, not exhibition, weight. I mean, here's a guy who fought a heavyweight fighting forget all that. These things can get figured out. The fine details. The fact that it was announced, why announce something with no date or location attached to it? What's the point? Unless you're just trying to get people excited and trying to get them, trying to get some investors or something like that.
But maybe also testing the waters. If the response was overwhelmingly positive, maybe you go, okay, we move forward. If the response is muted or negative, maybe you go, okay, we're not going to actually do this. You lob it out there as a way to pull the public, and then make an adjustment.
You don't think it happens?
I do not think it happens. I just don't think there will be enough interest. I know they have huge name value. There's zero, after the last performance by Mike Tyson against Jake Paul, I don't think there's going to be interest in seeing Mike Tyson do that again.
Terence Crawford has often expressed deep admiration for Manny Pacquiao, praising the Filipino legend's unparalleled career. He highlighted how Pacquiao captured titles across multiple weight divisions, frequently defeating larger opponents and thriving against the odds. Crawford noted that Manny's achievements were not only historic, but also nearly impossible to replicate, as he reached greatness in a unique era by taking risks and accepting challenges few fighters would even consider, cementing his place as one of boxing's all-time greats.
Man, a generational, talented fighter. Like, he's accomplished what no other fighter is ever going to.
The prospect of Terence Crawford facing David Benavidez has become a major topic among boxing fans. Benavidez is regarded as one of the sport's most dangerous fighters, bringing size, youth, and relentless aggression to the table. Many believe this matchup would challenge Crawford in ways no opponent has before. However, with no official confirmation, the talk remains speculation. Still, the buzz reflects fans' growing demand for meaningful, high-risk fights that showcase true competition rather than exhibitions or celebrity-driven spectacles that often dominate the boxing landscape today.
Shock the world, not me, but shock the world. This past Saturday, Mexican Independence Day weekend, but he took on and defeated another first ballot Hall of Famer, but he essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had one fight at 154 last August against Israel Majamov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7", with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right? He's not a big guy, right?
Trainer Greg Hackett spoke with great admiration when reflecting on Terence Crawford's stunning victory over Canelo Alvarez. He described Canelo as the shark of boxing, a long-standing symbol of dominance who ruled the sport with unmatched strength and skill. For Hackett, Crawford's ability not only to face Canelo but dismantle him represents a dramatic shift in power at the very top of the boxing world. Defeating a fighter once considered untouchable has now positioned Crawford as a new predator in the waters, the man every contender must fear. Hackett's remarks also raise an important question about the future. If Crawford was able to conquer the toughest fighter of his generation, who remains that can truly test him? Fans are now left debating whether Crawford will continue seeking new challenges or retire while standing unchallenged at the peak of his dominance.
The guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, all right, well, so I'm gonna fight. You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Right. Damn. Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up? That's the
shit gotta make sense. Like you said, you be the shark, you be the wolf, but there's the monster.
Yeah, it is, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, to me it don't make sense, but that's what.
Monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pape in the building. Legend. But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers. You know what I'm saying?
The line of suits get you money, man. Go away and get the easy money. You ain't got to sweat no more. Not saying you ain't got to work, you ain't got to sweat. He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody. The fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's because when a guy see himself up here and is fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he train, he not gonna really train. He gonna train, but he not gonna train. He not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious, and he's like, man, this ain't even that. But your coach like, listen, you would get fucked up. I'm telling you, you don't want to listen. Then you go in there and fight that guy. Then you get. I seen it happen.
Analysts widely agree that Terence Crawford's dominant victory over Canelo Alvarez was a defining moment in his career, ending any serious debate about his standing in boxing history. Even before this fight, Crawford had earned respect for dismantling Errol Spence, where he showcased total control and silenced those questioning his resume. But defeating Canelo carried far greater weight. Long considered one of the sport's most complete pound-for-pound fighters, Canelo built his legacy by conquering multiple divisions and consistently beating larger, stronger opponents. Crawford not only embraced that challenge, but dismantled him in a way few imagined possible. The performance demonstrated that Crawford's brilliance extends far beyond a single weight class, proving his adaptability, technical mastery, and unshakable mental toughness. As a result, observers now regard Crawford as one of boxing's rare all-time greats, an athlete who has conquered every challenge set before him.
I think there was enough action, and I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, but then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, all right, it was good. And they're like, okay. I saw somebody like, they're squabbing. Like, there's a fight here. So I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't. James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, he's not gonna. But Crawford didn't do that. He wasn't up 8-0, to be fair to Floyd. But Floyd was when he fought Canelo, so he could do that. But Bud instead steps on the gas. Bud is a finisher. He closes really strong. He closes really strong in every exchange. That's one of his gifts. He's the best counterpuncher of his era, one of the greatest counterpunchers that lived. But the great fighters, James would tell us about this. James and Mike McCallum put on fights that exemplify what I'm talking about: initiating and punctuating, being first, being last. That's one of the things that makes Crawford who he is. So no, I think it was a good enough fight that it certainly didn't hurt boxing.
Yeah, I think sport of boxing delivered last night. I mean, Crawford didn't deliver. Manny.
The debate over Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather has become one of the most captivating discussions in modern boxing. Supporters of Mayweather argue that his defensive genius, flawless timing, and unmatched ring IQ would have given him the edge had they met in their primes. Floyd's mastery lay in neutralizing an opponent's strengths, controlling the pace, and forcing elite challengers into positions where they could not perform at their best. His undefeated record remains the ultimate testament to his ability to adapt to any style and remain untouchable on the other hand. Many believe Crawford may have posed the greatest challenge of Mayweather's career. His adaptability, sharp punching power, and calm under pressure set him apart, while his ability to switch stances fluidly and apply intelligent bursts of aggression give him unique unpredictability. Some argue his finishing instinct could have pushed Mayweather into exchanges he typically avoided. Ultimately, the comparison reflects two distinct forms of greatness. Mayweather built his legacy on control, precision, and calculated dominance, while Crawford thrives on versatility, aggression, and high-level adjustments. Though the debate will never be resolved, it reflects the immense respect both champions command across generations.
Between Prime Mayweather and Prime Crawford, I've tended to lean slightly towards Mayweather. But after that performance there against Canelo, not just the fact he won, the manner in which he won, I've changed my mind. I would now lean towards Prime Crawford over Mayweather. And the reason I say this is because of the expert way in which Terence Crawford mixed offensive in the pocket boxing with defensive on the move boxing. Not running, save for maybe a round or two. No, just moving nicely. Because if there's one area of Floyd Mayweather's game that was underdeveloped, it's his front foot game. Whenever Mayweather was forced to walk an opponent down, what he did was actually very basic. He would hold his hands up and he would walk forward throwing straight right hands. Okay, they were accurate straight right hands. They were well-timed straight right hands. But there wasn't a whole heap of head movement. There wasn't a whole heap of creative or dynamic footwork, coming forward, walking somebody down. No, it was very, very basic stuff. And I don't think an approach that basic would have worked against, let's say, a Tommy Hearns, who was 6'1", 6'2", 78-inch reach, massive puncher, good hand speed. So I always thought that a prime Tommy Hearns would beat prime Mayweather, because I can't see Mayweather doing what Ray Leonard did, grabbing a bull by the horns and taking it to Tommy Hearns. Can't see him doing that, and if he did try and do it, he's going to get clipped. Tommy Hearns hit so hard, that guard for Mayweather wouldn't be enough, in my opinion. And I never saw Mayweather on the front foot moving his head a lot. When he's in the middle of the ring or on the back foot, when he's being defensive, yeah, that's when he moves his head. The famous Philly shell defense, the shoulder roll and all that. But coming forward, no, it's a lot more basic. Go watch Mayweather's old fights, you'll see what I'm talking about. Whenever he's forced to come forward, it's basic stuff. And so, after watching Crawford's performance against Canelo, I got to thinking, you know what? Maybe Crawford employs similar tactics if he fights a prime Mayweather.
With his list of accomplishments continuing to grow, Terence Crawford now stands at a crossroads. Many fans are eager to see him pursue new challenges against names like David Benavidez, Jermall Charlo, or other top contenders. However, at 37, there is also the strong possibility that Crawford could choose retirement, walking away with his legacy intact and little left to prove. This uncertainty fuels tension among fans, who worry that boxing could lose one of its few active greats at a time, when the sport desperately craves big, meaningful fights.
Terence Crawford, the fight is big, showbiz.
Saturday, deliver the job.
Y'all missed the most important part. It's when he said, don't retire.
No retirement.
This is what you guys are missing. Turkey Island Sheik was trying to say, return the favor.
You want job ain't done. Yeah.
Bud interrupted him by saying the job ain't done, which prompted Turkey Island Sheik to say, yeah, deliver the job. But that's not what he was on. He was on the first part, return the favor. But Turkey, in a second thought, he goes back to Bud and he says, and don't retire.
No retirement.
That's what Turkey meant when he was trying to say, return the favor. I did this for you. You got this big fight, but don't retire. Return the favor.
UFC legend Daniel Cormier is the latest to praise Terence Crawford while weighing in on Ilia Topuria's surprising call-out. Known for his sharp insight into combat sports, Cormier acknowledged Topuria's impressive rise in MMA and the momentum that has positioned him as a potential future superstar. However, despite the hype surrounding the young contender, Cormier made it clear that his confidence still lies firmly with Crawford. He emphasized that Crawford has already proven his greatness, with a resume and dominance that speak louder than speculation. In Cormier's view, Crawford has earned recognition as the best active fighter in the sport today. What makes Cormier's words especially impactful is that they come from outside the boxing world, underscoring how Crawford's influence extends far beyond his discipline. His legacy resonates not only within boxing, but across the entire spectrum of combat.
I bet that Ilia Topuria could knock Terence Crawford out, no chance. If I had to bet Ilia Topuria versus Terence Crawford, I'm betting Terence Crawford. I mean, he's the best boxer in the world, and this is what he does, and he's done his entire life. But we also knew that about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. We knew, right, deep down, that Conor McGregor was not going to knock out Floyd Mayweather. But because of what we had seen him do inside of the octagon, what we had seen him do to all those great fighters in MMA,
When he walked into that ring, people thought he had a chance. He didn't really have a chance. Conor never had a chance against Floyd Mayweather. And it would feel that way with Topuria. But you could at least tell that there's a chance because of how good he is in boxing and how he knocks people out inside the UFC. Initially, I thought Bud Crawford would just no-sell Ilia Topuria, right? When you're the king and everybody's calling your name, you can literally just ignore them and nobody will say anything about it. But Bud Crawford isn't one to ignore stuff.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and we'll catch you next time